Hello, welcome to Inside the Summit League. Tom Neiman along with Brad Newitt. And just like that, we are a fourth of the way through the league schedule in basketball already. A couple of teams have come out and surprised a lot of people, Newitt, and the Western Illinois men are one of those big surprises.
Certainly have to be. They've already won 3 league games. That's as many as they won all of last year. But I think the way that they're winning games has also been very impressive.
All right, here are the Leathernecks at home against South Dakota State here early on in the Summit League season. And South Dakota State was up 6 at the half in this game. Mike Dahm, Summit League leading scorer, had 0 points in the first half, and SDSU was in the lead.
I think South Dakota State had to feel good at this point in the game without their leading scorer really producing, in foul trouble for Dahm. And they had done a pretty good job defensively holding down a good Western Illinois shooting attack.
Western Illinois, though, takes the lead with about 6 minutes to go, and Western takes 43s in this game. That's a season high for them, but they make 16 of them. Dalen Ankrum comes off the bench with 16 points. He goes 4 for 4 on 3, and Western wins it by 8.
And Garrett Covington, very efficient in his scoring, too. All of his shots were three-pointers in this game. He hit 6 of those 16.
Western is playing without injured point guard Jabari Sandifer right now. They've had to make some roster moves. Here is head coach Billy Wright after this win over the Jackrabbits.
We've had to adjust rotation. We had to adjust some offensive packages. Some guys had to learn a different position. And Garrett moved over to the point guard position most of the second half when D'Lo went out. So give him credit for knowing multiple positions and distributing the ball. So you look at 22 assists, 5 turnovers, that's a byproduct of our formula for success.
All right, so Western gets it done there. Fort Wayne has been playing some close games, Brad, and winning them. They go to Omaha, win 80-78. John Conchar with a 3 to tie the game at 75. Marcus Tyus comes back for Omaha, puts him in the lead by 3. D'Angelo Stewart hits a 3 for Fort Wayne to tie it at 78, and then Conchar hits a long 2 from the top of the circle with less than a half a second left to win the game.
Well, Fort Wayne pulls one out of the fire here on the road, and what a second half, first of all, for Fort Wayne. They were down at the half, did not play well in the first half shooting the basketball, and kind of had some off nights from Bryson Scott and Mo Evans in this game, but John Conchar comes up huge with those 33 points, and he hit 13 of 15 shots in this game. Extremely efficient.
You love efficiency, don't
I do.
you? He was 4 of 4 on threes, 33 points, 11 rebounds for Conchar. Marcus Tyus had a great week, started it here with 25 points for Omaha in that loss. South Dakota goes to Denver and wins 75-69. This game was close all the way. There were 14 lead changes, but the Coyotes pull it out.
Again, USD does a nice job really playing well offensively on the road. They hit 9 of 19 from the three-point line in this game. The thing that almost got South Dakota is they're really struggling rebounding the basketball. Without Tyler Flack in this lineup, again, their starting center out with a knee injury. Denver out-rebounds them by 9, and that was almost enough, those extra possessions, to get the Pioneers over the hump, but USD able to win it.
C.J. Bobbitt had 10 rebounds. Daniel Amigo had 10 rebounds. Joe Rosga leads Denver with 14, but Matt Mooney with 23 in this game to lead South Dakota to the win 75-69. North Dakota State on Thursday. The Bison get to 3-0 with this win at home against IUPUI. High-scoring, high-possession game, 93-89. North Dakota State just got the lead and just held on by 6 or 8 and got it done at the end.
Well, this was a very physical game. There were 50 fouls called in this game, 67 free throws shot between the two teams, and like you already said, a high possession game, and that's why this score was high. I think a lot of people around the league very surprised to see NDSU put up 93 on the board, but with all those fouls, North Dakota State went to the free throw line 39 times in this game. But I tell you, Tom, North Dakota State is playing really well on the offensive end right now. We already know how great defensively this team can be, holding their opponents down to low field goal percentages, kind of controlling tempo, doing a great job on the boards. If the Bison can keep playing at this level offensively, they're going to be a really tough team for anyone to beat.
North Dakota State averaging 85 points a game in their 3 Summit League games so far. Darrell Combs, great point guard for IUPUI. He was off in this game, only had 13 points, and the Jags only shot at 37%. Credit to North Dakota State, but the Bison look like one of the top 2 or 3 teams here early on.
They certainly do. They're playing with a lot of confidence, too, and they've got a really good substitution pattern figured out. They've moved Dexter Warner to the bench, but they really like his energy that he's bringing to this team coming off the bench as a senior leader, and for whatever reason, that's working well right now for David Richmond.
All right, we got these Saturday men's games coming up, including a sizzling season high for Garrett Covington at Western Illinois and Omaha, hitting 100 on the road at South Dakota State.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn.
Welcome back to men's basketball, and let's talk some more about Western Illinois right now. Western Illinois won 3 Summit League games all of last year. They didn't get that third win until the last game of the year when they beat South Dakota, but they lost their first 9 Summit League games a season ago. But Western Illinois off to a 3-1 start so far this season. Garrett Covington, great player. What else have they put with him? What's going on with Western Illinois right now?
Well, this is a team that's playing great on the offensive end. They're shooting it at a high percentage. They're sharing the ball very well. In addition to that, that's leading to some good shots for them. Covington in particular, Tom, you look at last year, he was scoring at about 20 a game, but he was taking a lot of shots to do that. And this year, a lot more efficient in his shooting, getting to the foul line. I think it's really been the offensive end that's really sparked this team. But as we're going to see here in their win over Oral Roberts, they played very good on the defensive end too.
All right, at Western on Saturday, Western beats Oral Roberts 86-71. Oral Roberts led this game by 1 with about 12 minutes to play, but Western goes on a 12-2 run at that point to put it away. Brandon Gilbeck, another guy we haven't mentioned for Western Illinois, 10 points and 13 rebounds, but Garrett Covington, 34 points in this game for Western Illinois.
Now Covington again doing it. He's really shooting the ball well. He was 6 of 8 from the three-point line in this game, and just doing a nice job, I think, as a senior running this team and being the kind of the captain that they need him to be.
The Coyotes on Saturday, a home win against IUPUI, 85-74. IUPUI was ahead by 7 with just under 7 minutes to play, but then South Dakota with Carlton Hurst and Matt Mooney on the comeback.
Well, South Dakota is really getting contributions throughout their lineup. I don't know if there's a more balanced team in the Summit League. You look at their lineup top to bottom. They had 5 players in this game in double figures, and it seems almost every night out they're getting 4, 5, sometimes even 6 guys scoring the basketball. That's why South Dakota has been good, and they've been very good at home playing this way as well.
And they held IUPUI to just 4 points over the last 6.5 minutes of this game. Darrell Combs had a nice comeback, 27 points on 10 of 19 shooting for IUPUI, but Hurst with 19 and Mooney with 16 as the Coyotes win that one, and they get to 3-1 so far in league play. Omaha at South Dakota State on Saturday, and this was a crazy game. Omaha was up 21 points at halftime on the road.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone saw that kind of blitz coming at Frost Arena, but Omaha was shooting the basketball so well against the South Dakota State zone. They just kept extending that lead throughout the first half and rode that momentum into the locker room.
Marcus Tyus ties the Omaha school record with 8 3-point shots in this game, 34 points for Tyus. But South Dakota State down by 24 in the second half. They come back and cut the lead to 2.
This was a 24-point deficit with 6.5 to go.
Yes.
I think most of the faithful at Frost Arena had already gone out to warm up their cars, but South Dakota State goes on a 33-11 run over the next 5.5. And all of a sudden, this game did get interesting. It was a one-possession game with a minute to go.
59 points in the second half for the Jackrabbits, but they come up short. Mike Dahm, 28 points in this game, 19 of those coming in the second half. But again, a loss for the Jackrabbits. So South Dakota State and Omaha 1-3 in Summit League play after this game. And then Fort Wayne, keep talking about close games with the Mastodons. Another one here at home. They beat Denver 87-83. Both teams shoot it better than 52% in this game. It was tied with a couple of minutes left, but Mo Evans, a couple of threes late, and Fort Wayne pulls it out by 4.
Well, Mo Evans and Bryson Scott played very well in this game. Both of them had over 20 points in the game for Fort Wayne. And you mentioned the shooting percentage. That's, again, what's carrying Fort Wayne in these close wins. They're making just enough shots, and they lead the Summit League in field goal percentage over 50% and in three-point percentage over 40%.
Evans with 24, Bryson Scott 27, Joe Rosga with 27 in this game for Denver. Those guys that were all freshmen last year coming on this year for Denver. But Fort Wayne wins without John Conchar having a big game, just 6 points and 6 rebounds in this game for Fort Wayne. Looking ahead at this weekend, Saturday, you got Fort Wayne at South Dakota. That's going to be good.
That's going to be a great game. Tangling between two teams that are playing very good basketball here in the Summit League season early on.
All right, women's basketball coming up next, and the Surprisin' Bison at North Dakota State. They have the longest win streak in the Summit League right now. Welcome back. Now to women's basketball, and we've talked about the Western Illinois men. They've been a great story. So have the Western Illinois women, and we will get to that in a moment here. So has the North Dakota State women's team, picked to finish 7th this year by all the geniuses that we know in the media and everywhere else. But NDSU off to a great start so far up in Fargo.
And they had a rough non-league schedule. They had not played well in that at all, but for whatever reason, this team has caught some confidence, caught fire offensively here once we started Summit League play.
Here are the Bison women at home against South Dakota to get it started. A game that most people thought that the Coyotes would win going in there, but NDSU beats them 83-73. North Dakota State down to 8 players in this game because of injury and illness, but they got out to a really good start, an 8-point lead in the first quarter, and go on to win it by 10.
Well, this team is shooting it really well from the three-point line in North Dakota State, and in this game they did just that, 12 of 26. Those 12 threes really carried them, Tom, but you mentioned only 8 players dressed, but they got 29 points from their reserves off the bench. That was huge for NDSU as well.
Anna Goodhope was one of those reserves, came in the fourth quarter and scored all 9 of her points as South Dakota had come back and cut the lead to 2 at the end of 3 quarters. Allison Arns with 28 points for South Dakota. But again, Anna Goodhope comes in and the Bison hold them off. Taylor Thunstead with 19, Sarah Jacobson, another one of those freshmen with 18 points as NDSU gets the win over South Dakota 83-73. On Thursday was Omaha at home against IUPUI, and this was probably the most surprising score of the week as the Mavericks win by 20.
Well, Omaha's a good team, but certainly the margin of the victory, yes, I think, really a surprise for everyone. And IUPUI struggled so much offensively in this game, only shot 30% and didn't get to the foul line hardly at all. Omaha on the flip side, great job sharing the basketball. They had 20 assists, Tom, on their 27 made buckets, and Michaela Shaw leading the way again for them.
Shaw, 24 points, 12 rebounds. Michaela Daprich, the transfer for Omaha, 18 points in this one. They lead the entire ball game, all 40 minutes, and as you mentioned, IUPUI just 5 free throw attempts. They made 3 of them. Those are both season lows, as their big 3, Rogers, Lawrence, and Hall, held you just 22 points total by Omaha.
And IUPUI is a team that we know they're good defensively, but up to this point they had played very well offensively, but for whatever reason really struggled that night in Omaha.
All right, elsewhere, South Dakota State at home against Fort Wayne, and good first quarter for Fort Wayne. They've come out well early in some of these games, but shoot just 29% overall after that. And South Dakota State shoots 56% for the ball game. They got away from the three-point shot in this game and got almost everything they got inside.
Yeah, South Dakota State had shot over half their shots from the three-point line in their loss at South Dakota last week. That wasn't the case here. They really attacked Fort Wayne off the bounce, getting the ball inside, kind of used their size advantage. 48 points in the paint for the Jackrabbits. That's what keyed this victory.
Ellie Thompson goes 8 for 8 from the field, 19 points for her, 19 for Maddie Giebert, as South Dakota State beats Fort Wayne by 22. Western Illinois, here we go. They led all 40 minutes in this game against Denver. They end up winning it by 25, and we're up 30 in the fourth quarter. Just poured it on. Western Illinois is a very good offensive team.
They are a fantastic offensive team. They lead the Summit League in points per game at 80, and they have great scoring balance throughout their lineup. The thing they did in this game is they dominated the rebounding, a plus 27 advantage on the boards. They shot a great percentage in this game and still had 24 offensive rebounds. They were just really doing a nice job pursuing the basketball.
2 of those scores for Western Illinois. Of course, they got Emily Clemens, but it was Taylor Higginbotham in this game with a season-high 28 for Western Illinois. Morgan Bloomer with 25 as they roll up 87 again. Denver gets 18 out of Lauren Lovin, who is a freshman for Denver. Going to be one of the great newcomers in the league this year, but the Pioneers lose on the road as Western wins at 87-62. And Western Illinois keeps it rolling on Saturday with another win at home. Home teams go 8-0 for the week in the Summer League this year, and we'll finish up the week for the women coming up next. Welcome back. Back to women's basketball now, and the home teams in the last week, Newitt, they go 8-0 after there was a 4-4 split in the first week of Summit League play. Why is the home court, what's a home court worth right now? 6, 8 points? What do you think?
I'd say it's in that range for sure. And I think one of the things that's tough about always playing on the road in Summit League games is you're playing against opponents that know you well and are going to be well prepared against you. The travel's always a factor as well. I think you especially see that on the second day of the road trip for a lot of these teams because they have to do some travel in between. But certainly road games never easy to win.
All right, one team that's been really good at home is South Dakota, and they've been good all season from the get-go. The Coyotes are 8-0 at home going into this game against IUPUI Newitt, and IUPUI had a 2-0 lead, and then the Yotes took over, shoot at 56%, and just shot it well from everywhere.
They really did. It was a great team effort on the offensive end for South Dakota. IUPUI as a team coming into this weekend, they were really holding teams down below 40% shooting. Omaha got them with a great shooting night, and then USD followed it up here. The other thing for USD, Tom, they got after the rebounding. They had 18 missed shots to the USD, and they got 7 of those misses on offensive glass, so they were getting second chances on top of that.
All right, for IUPUI, 2 of their big scorers, Michael Rogers with 21, Danielle Lawrence with 17. But as you said, they give up 75. South Dakota, 11 of 17 on threes, 18 of 21 at their free throw line. And Kira Duffy, one of their players that's kind of been up and down this year, had a season high 22 points and 6 assists. So South Dakota, another scoring source for them.
Exactly, and this is a game where Allison Arns didn't have her normal night. She only had 8 points for the Summit League's leading scorer on the year. And so I think if you're South Dakota, you got to feel good about how well you played offensively without your leading scorer really contributing at her normal level.
All right, so the Coyotes 3-1 after that win. So is South Dakota State. The Jackrabbits at home against Omaha, and they win this one 76-64. South Dakota State up 10 at halftime. They were up by 22 in the third quarter and just kind of cruised from there.
I think South Dakota State did a nice job in this game, again, defensively, really shutting down what Omaha likes to do. They forced Omaha into taking 26 three-point shots, which is probably more than the Mavs would have liked to take. And South Dakota State used that defense, I think, to really help their offense, too. This is a game where South Dakota State got some steals, and that turned into some nice transition for them, too.
Jackrabbits had 2 players with career highs of this game. Carrie Young for South Dakota State, 27 points and 7 assists. Sydney Palmer, who's in the starting lineup right now for the Jacks, with a career high 20 for her. Ellie Thompson with 14 points, 12 rebounds. They didn't get a lot from Madison Giebert, their leading scorer, but still, when they've got 4 or 5 players that can score when they need to.
Well, certainly. Without Miller and Ober in the lineup, they're missing some punch there. There's no question. But they've got great talent on this roster, and you see it right there with what Palmer's able to do, kind of coming out of the woodwork to have a huge game.
For Omaha, Michaela Daprich, 18 points. Michaela Shaw had 16, didn't score in the first, had 8 in the second, didn't score in the third, had 8 in that fourth quarter. But Carrie Young, pretty nice job on her in the man-to-man defense for the Jackrabbits as South Dakota State gets to 3-1 with the win over Omaha. Another team that is 3-1 is North Dakota State. The Bison women went 2-14 in the Summit League last year, and they've already got 3 wins this year.
Well, they're taking advantage of their home court. They get another home win here. Again, really doing a nice job playing great offensive basketball. They shoot over 50% in this game. Even though they turned it over a lot, they were able to overcome that with another great day shooting the ball.
Fort Wayne, again, a good start for them, led after the first quarter. DeJour Young with 16 for Fort Wayne, but as you said, North Dakota State 52%, plus 21 on the boards. Brianna Jones, 14 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists for North Dakota State, and of course they still have Taylor Thunstead, who had 16 in this game, and the Bison, a bit surprisingly, I mean, they might admit that too, that they are 3-1 right now.
I think they are. I mean, I think that they would be surprised by how well things have gone. Even their one loss was against South Dakota State in a game that they played very well, very competitive game.
Yeah,
they led for a lot of the good stretch of it.
The opener, yeah, it was a 3-point game. So North Dakota State 3-1, and there is one other team that is 3-1 right now, and that is Western Illinois. And the Leathernecks at home against Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts playing well coming into this game. Was tied at 61. It was tied at 63. It was tied at 65. Western missed a couple of shots at the end, so they go to overtime tied at 65.
To me, this was maybe the heavyweight matchup of the weekend on the women's side. I think Oral Roberts came in playing really good basketball, but a tough road trip to Western Illinois and a team that's playing well offensively. And 2 teams that really got after each other on the defensive end. They forced a lot of turnovers between the 2 teams. But in the end, Western Illinois, again, their offense is so good right now. They're shooting the ball and they're getting contributions from more than one person.
Emily Clemens, 6 for 6 from the free throw line in that overtime period. Morgan Bloomer, 19 points and 11 rebounds in the win for Western Illinois, as they, again, are one of 4 teams that are 3-1. Here is Western head coach J.D. Gravina on what he has seen so far in Summit League play.
You know, North Dakota State's playing maybe a little better than they were early in the year. Obviously, that big win against South Dakota, and had really battled some teams, battled South Dakota State right down the last possession. So it really seems like there's probably 7 teams that could compete and win the league. So that's going to be tough.
Well, North Dakota State at Western Illinois coming up on Saturday. Might not have thought 2 weeks ago that would be a great game, but that is now a very big game this early point in the season. Thanks to Brad Newitt, and we will finish up with some track and field next. An athlete at Oral Roberts among the best in the nation right now.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn.
Well, South Dakota State has that beautiful new indoor facility in Brookings, and SDSU will host the Summit League Indoor Track and Field Championships coming up on February 24th and 25th. South Dakota State will be at the Bison Classic in Fargo this weekend. That's hosted by North Dakota State. Omaha is at an invitational in Lincoln, Nebraska this weekend. IUPUI is at the Kentucky Invitational in Lexington. South Dakota, Western Illinois, both at the Hawkeye Challenge in Iowa City, Iowa. And Oral Roberts is at the Arkansas Invitational on Friday. And speaking of the Golden Eagles, they have the Summit League Athletes of the Week. ORU sophomore Israel Nelson won the 60-meter hurdles at the Bill Easton Classic in Lawrence, Kansas. A time of 7.9 seconds for Nelson. That is a Summit League best right now, and it is the 7th fastest time in the nation as well. Omega Reese at Oral Roberts is the Women's Athlete of the Week, a 3rd place finish in the 800 meters at the Easton Classic, also at the University of Kansas. And we will see you next week on Inside the Summit League.